Great decorating is all about the details, including a gorgeous textured set of coasters. How we love a coaster. Functional. And why not be beautiful? Quince has a gorgeous set of woven rattan coasters in 3 terrific colors with their own little holder that you're going to absolutely love. And if you haven't visited quince.com/DTT yet, get on over there. It's everyday elevated living without the markup. From crisp 100% linen bedding and soft organic cotton towels to airy curtains and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And the best part? Like Quince's clothing, their home goods are half the cost of similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. It is time for another DTT Plus, where you just get more of us. So today we're talking about the burning question, is open concept a thing of the past?
Yes, this is very interesting because for a long time now, perhaps since the 1980s, we've been ripping down walls and opening up the spaces to increase the light, improve the flow, and make the rooms feel larger, which has been great. But now, with everything, Kelly, in home decorating, home design, it's a pendulum. And I guess it's just been too long to one way. Now it's going the other way.
Yeah, I think that's true. You have alerted us to that swinging pendulum before with colors and looks, and this is the whole layout of your home, which is not so easy to change.
Right.
If you have an open concept, and also not so easy to change if you don't have an open concept. I think this is also a movement away from, or a reaction to, the whole pandemic. I know, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's tired of hearing about the pandemic, and we're years out from it now. But that's going to be with us for a long time. And people needed to have some privacy. They needed to have a place where they could work quietly. They needed not to see the people they were trapped in the house with for all those months and years. So it's not that surprising that open concept is sort of fading and in not as much favor going forward. And people are appreciating walls and separate spaces more than they did in the past.
Well, but with what you have said before, I would say it applies here. And that is when you said things, when they come back around, they come back in a different way.
Oh, that's true too.
Right. So in this case, what I'm seeing isn't just a movement toward delineated spaces that you can close off, but the flexibility to do so. That's what I'm seeing. It's not just going from open to close, but going to flexible. And I've seen that with some homes in this area where there's a lot of new home building, where they have put some hanging doors where the kitchen is, where they open or close. And one particular house I saw, it was just stunningly beautiful here in Round Top. The island was outside the kitchen when you closed the doors. I mean, it was right next to the kitchen, but you could do all this work in the kitchen, make a big mess, put it on the island, then close the doors. I thought that is a very clever idea.
Wow. I'm trying to picture that. So if the doors were open, you've got this big kitchen with a big island and then presumably some sort of family room, living space, and then you're sliding these barn doors closed and the island is in the living space, not in the kitchen?
The hanging doors go basically at the end of the kitchen but the island is a little outside of the kitchen.
Right.
Because the kitchen's kind of a little bit of a nook almost. So you could actually close the door, but the island kind of made it outside of that area.
Interesting. So then the island's part of the living space.
Right.
And what would you use it for then? Dining?
Well, I think you can use it for serving. You could put, a beautiful display of flowers on that. You can use it however you want.
Boy. Yeah.
Right. You could eat there. Again, flexible. I think it's a great idea. And, this house, although the house we moved into, one nice thing is that there is a door that goes to the upstairs. So if we want to set the AC units at different places, we can do it. And it's nice because of the door. But we have open concept in the living, dining, and kitchen. So in previous homes, I've always been able to sit in the dining room and get away from a dirty kitchen. This house, not so much. There's no breakfast room. There's just this little space. Well, it's not a little space. It's just the one big space. So the only thing I could do is just face away from the kitchen, which is what I do when I sit there, because I think I really have to face the other direction so I can enjoy my meal. I don't want to look at a messy kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting about that layout of that home that you shared with us. That's something to think about. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you want to say, where do you fall on this? Do you like open concept? I know you've had open concept. You've kind of got open concept now. Is it something that you enjoy living with?
Because I've had various levels of it. Because in the my previous house, the breakfast room, kitchen, living room were open concept, but the dining room was its own thing over to the side. And we don't have that now. So, for our house, I love it in that the room definitely feels bigger because it's one big space. But like I just said, there's no way to really eat in the house and not see the kitchen. So I don't like that. So, I can see the value of both. So it's kind of a struggle there. I think it's what I said. I think I like the idea of open concept but with some flexibility. So, I even thought about, can I take like a room divider curtain just to pull across the kitchen so I don't have to see back there? I haven't found a good place to put that, but that does make you think about that. It's certainly for a study. I think if you have a study, you need a door on that room for sure. If that's your work from home space, I think there's a lot of value in having the ability to close off spaces, but boy, for that main living area, I do like an open plan where you can really get that light through there, get the space. And the other thing that's nice about it is that it becomes a very flexible space. If you need more dining room space, you can extend leaves in your table and just extend them out into your living room area, push your sofa out of the way. That there's definitely some flexibility with an open concept home. So how about you, Kelly? What do you think?
I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive. It's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And Dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com/ before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely free free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. Well, I'm not just going to be an agitator, to make this a more interesting conversation. I truly prefer separate rooms. And that could be because I tend to prefer older homes, and that's just the way they are set up. And it feels awkward sometimes when people do decide to knock down walls in older homes. We've got an episode on slow decorating, and I would refer everyone to that, whether it's come out or it's coming out. It's a good one to listen to because you don't want to be knocking down walls until you're really, really sure. So I would definitely prefer separate rooms for various reasons. I like the idea that you can be alone if you want to. Maybe that's my only child thing. I don't know. But I like to be able to be in a separate space sometimes if you need to be.
That's a big family thing. If you have a big family, boy, you need a door on your room and you want your own room.
Yes, absolutely. And I like the idea of how rooms can be discovered. It's kind of like in the garden, in garden design, there's the concept where you should create separate rooms, air quote rooms, whether you're doing that with plantings or, even just a little bistro set over in the corner, you're delineating the space. Because if you just look out and there's just one big giant lawn, it doesn't feel as big, even though it might, actually, if you measured it, seem fairly large. It will feel bigger if you break it up into rooms, and it's more interesting, right? Oh, can I see through that hedge? Oh, what's over there? There's something blooming. But, it's kind of a little bit of a discovery. I like that idea. I'm always thinking about sight lines when I'm working in my own home and with clients, So when you've got an open concept, your sight line is wide and always right there, right? So, and then thinking about that, where the fact that you're seeing everything at the same time, it's more difficult to decorate that well because you're seeing everything, and you need to have things in there. You need to have not only furnishings, but decor. So sometimes it feels like too much because your eye's taking it all in. So you have to be really careful in decorating not only your palette that you're choosing, but also the number of pieces and the type of pieces. You can have so many pieces that are a focal point that are like a wow piece. Whereas if you have separate rooms, you can have something that's an interesting, wowsy sort of eye-catching piece almost in every single room. And we would encourage that sort of thing. Also very challenging to hang art because you don't have that many walls.
Well, that's true. And we did have a problem with sight lines because our kitchen table is right next to the island. And I had tall chair backs around the kitchen table, which were kind of blocking the view of the chairs at the island, the counter stools. And I ended up switching out both sets of chairs to make them work better together because suddenly they were right next to each other.
Yeah, that's smart. So you did lower profile chairs?
Yes.
Yeah. I recommend that highly when I'm dealing with clients that have this kind of open concept space.
I'm not surprised to hear that you prefer the more delineated, closed off homes because you do like an antique house. So that makes sense to me. And like I said, there is value in it. I mean, I see the value in both, and I see life as an opportunity to have something that's perfect for you in one particular time of life. So I guess in a lot of things, I don't feel like there's just one perfect for me and the others don't work. I just see it as certain things are good in this time phase of my life and then something different later on. So I like to try different things too.
Yes, there are definitely seasons for different things. Maybe when your kids are little, it's great to be able to see what they're doing on the floor over there while you're making dinner. But then maybe that's when you need those sliding barn doors. So say you do have open concept, because a lot of people do, and that you're feeling that it's not really working for you, as Anita said, in this season or time in your life, and you would like to change it. You started off with a great idea that you saw in a home in Round Top about having these sliding doors. Do you have any other ideas about ways that people can sort of now create some delineation if they don't have that?
Well, IKEA does have these ceiling racks where you can put room dividers, curtains, and hang them from the ceiling, and those open and close very easily. There's also the room dividers that are just kind of they're kind of what would you call it? You've seen those. They're just kind of
Like the screens, like the three
right, a screen,
panel
right,
screens.
a room screen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, something like that. You can use those. I mean, obviously you can wall it in too, but boy, that's pretty permanent. So, I think you want to really be sure you want to do that before. And if you're thinking about doing that, maybe try the curtain first to make sure you really like the concept first.
Well, yeah, stage it out and see if you'd really like it, because you don't want to go to that sort of expense and then be like, oh gosh, I didn't think, that I can't see my kids, or, I'd like to see the television or something while I'm cooking or doing something. I've got us all cooking today. I don't know why. Maybe I'm hungry.
Well, and I'm thinking about my DTT defines from, I think it was last week, where I talked about a snug. And that's kind of a room typically with maybe a lower ceiling, kind of closed in and small, and it's very cozy. So
yeah,
you can't really get that feeling from a room that has tall ceilings and it's a big open concept room. So I think there's some value in having some coziness and creating these little snug spaces. So that's something else that you can only get if it's a small space.
Yeah. A couple of thoughts I had. I did build, the only house that I built from scratch had an open concept. So you had the kitchen, and then there was not an island, but there was a peninsula, and then a dining table, and then you could see into the big family room and, the TV and the big sectional and all that sort of thing. So it was this very long, big space. You can break it up, and that's what I did in that house, with pony walls. And so walls that are, maybe they're 4.5 feet tall. So, as I said, there was the kitchen, then there was the peninsula. So that kind of delineated the kitchen space. Then there was where I had the dining table, the casual dining table. We did have a separate dining room, which was a different room. And then instead of just having it flow into the family room, I did do a pony wall, so then the sofa could be against that. And it just visually gave you a break in the space, even though obviously you could see right over it, but you didn't see the back of the furniture, and it did feel like there was some separation. So I think that can work, and that's a lot less expensive than putting up a whole wall. So you could do that, or you can just use the furniture that you have to really carve out some specific spaces. So this is a lot of furniture placement. I mean, we help people with that all the time in the consult.
And we did a very tall dresser behind our sofa in our other house that was open concept, and that kind of delineated kind of a hallway behind the sofa from the living area. So you weren't looking at the back of a sofa, and also to feel like it was more of a hallway back there. So yes, you can do that with big buffets or big cabinets.
That was a great use of that piece of furniture. I thought you really did a great job there. And then when you were in the kitchen too, you weren't looking at the back of the sofa. You were looking at that pretty cabinet, and you always had it designed so beautifully. So it really was a nice transition. I thought that was a really brilliant use of that furniture. So you could take the cue from Anita and do things like that. And then a third thing that you can do is, if you feel like you need a little alone time, you need a little privacy, you just need a space that's kind of, your own, that isn't a shared bedroom or even your own bedroom where you're sleeping, but you just wanted a space where you can go, whether it be an office or a place just to read, or maybe do a little roll out your yoga mat, something like that. Normally, this open concept is happening on the first floor. If you've got a 2-story house. And even if you have a 1-story house, there's going to be doors on bedrooms, and maybe you have a guest room that isn't used all the time. Think about using that in a way that it can be, you can make it your own, and you can design it where, hey, if you had a guest, the person could sleep there. Maybe you do more of a day bed, and you maybe put some bookshelves, or if you do like to do some yoga or something like that, have the mat in there with some yoga blocks. So it's a place that you could go and shut the door and have your privacy if you needed it, not just when you're sleeping. So there's just, some easier ways to carve out some specific spaces, even if you have an open concept home.
Well, that's a great idea. Even some lower bookcases. especially if you put two through there and you put them back to back and it was a bookcase on both sides. I think that's a great idea as well. And I just saw an example of somebody who did that in their foyer, is to put it was a bookcase on both sides. So I think that's a great idea.
See, even when we don't agree and we take different positions, we still get along. It's just beautiful.
Well, life's too short to disagree and be mad about it. Really.
Absolutely. So, I'm closed. You're open. That's the way it is.
I go, listen, both ways.
Oh, okay,
I like it both ways.
You like the hybrid. Okay, perfect.
Yes, the hybrid. Well, yeah. I think it kind of needs to make sense for you and your home. So I think that's something to think about. And something that's right for me, like you said, might not be right for you. Well, I think we've covered it. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.